Our next guest is a geospatial analyst, Mr. Yusuf Muyideen Ahmed, who joins us to discuss developments as it concerns the local government controversy in Osun State. Over time, Osun State has been under the spotlight following the conduct of local government elections, which by some stretch of the imaginations was considered a sham. The issues got even more heated when there were controversies surrounding the disbursement of local government allocations, which at the time were said to have been withheld. Now, and if you're new to the conversation, ever since the Supreme Court granted judgment on the subject of local government autonomy, there's been debates on the joint accounts being shared by states between the local and state governments. While dedicated accounts ought to have been opened with the Central Bank of Nigeria, the process seemed to have met some bureaucratic bottlenecks. This morning, Mr. Yusuf Muyideen Ahmed joins us to discuss this and more. Hello, Mr. Yusuf. Welcome and thanks for joining us on the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, and good morning, viewers. It's nice being here. It's a new week.
Now, it's a new week, but the issue at hand is not new.
Yeah.
One of the disturbing developments of this story as it continues to unfold is accusations and counter-accusations. Now, issues as it concerns the state government and the third tier of government in that state are now being made to seem as though it's a feast brawl between two parties.
Yeah.
The APC is being accused right now of having received payments made for the local government into supposed party loyalists' account, their personal accounts. Now, the word on the front page earlier was that the disbursements need to be made public. Let's note the accounts that those monies were sent into. But in tracing the history of this matter that is peculiar not only to Osun State, but very worrisome to Nigeria as a whole, is the issue of joint accounts, dedicated accounts with the CBN as it concerns the funds meant for local governments. Let's get your take.
Everything is that those people who forget their history may not have a bright future. In 1999, when we start this our journey into democracy, there's a particular body called ALGON, the Association of Local Government Chairman of Nigeria. It's more powerful than the Governors Forum.
Supposedly.
As at then, ALGON is an household name. In fact, the governor borrowed a leaf from the ALGON. And going to 2003, I think the governor had an onslaught on ALGON. And today the name, because the president was able then, Olusegun Obasanjo, was able to rally around the local government to take development
to the grassroots.
To the grassroots. And the then set of governors, some of them who felt that they want to hold power at maximum in their state, have to meet Obasanjo and hold Obasanjo to ransom to stop patronizing local government ahead of the... It seems like the federal government is becoming an interloper as to the relationship within the local government and the state. And as such, since they took over the local government space in Nigeria, the local government has not had it well since 2003 to date. To the extent that, when we had the first election, it was the INEC that conducted the local government election vis-a-vis the state government, the senatorial and House of Rep and House of Assembly. All the election that was contested in 1999, both councillorship and the likes, was conducted by the national electoral body. But going forward, the state saw that if they allow the national body to continue to conduct this election, they set up their own state electoral body, and that's the bane of the local government to date. Most of the local government that came after then are toothless bulldog. Some of them are selected by the state governor or the ruling party in that state, and they hold sway as such. So this issue in Osun is not far away from this particular one. There was two elections that was held in Osun that I know. First one was held by which the APC swept, and the state government know that if the APC are allowed to be in control, they went to court and...
Because Osun is primarily a PDP state.
Governor, a PDP state. So they went to court. I think within forth and back, they laid legitimacy that they can conduct another election, and they put up... I think the federal government has chosen to recognize the APC because Attorney General Lateef Fagbemi is involved in this case. And I see the person of Attorney General, somebody who is up in the realm of law and knows what the needful to do, and he has been an excellent Attorney General so far. So I think the directive under which this fund were disbursed, maybe it was disbursed to those people that won the local government election, the APC. They not recognize.
But should it be that way?
If the law, if you have a ground on law that said this is the recognized, and maybe highest apex court has given a verdict as to the APC chairman are the one recognized by the law, I think.
But should public funds be sent in any case to private accounts?
No, we have not. Me personally, I have not substantiated such a claim because I'm on a national TV. So, and sometimes you don't give an affirmative or distinctive view on something you have not substantiated. But I'm just giving you a holistic approach as to where the money might have been sent. But I don't think it's private account. Maybe it's the local government the APC that won have already set up.
No, but the conditionality on ground is that local governments are mandated to have a dedicated account with the Central Bank of Nigeria through which these funds would be disbursed. That's the conditionality on which funds should be disbursed.
So far, when the president, both Muhammadu Buhari and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu are trying their best to make sure that development reach the grassroots. But one of the things that keep on coming up is that the governors are always fighting such a move because of their personal and self-aggrandizement. Let me tell you, Bito.
But even back to the account issue before we come to this point of yours.
Yeah.
Even for states that practice joint accounts, who are the signatories to those accounts in your knowledge?
You see, we must come from the position of the law and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. There are 3 tiers of government that should operate independently but working towards the same purpose. The local government, the state government, and the federal government. Every month, Accountant General from the state come to Abuja to the FAC and they share largesse. Presently, they are sharing triple of what they were sharing in the past. I don't think there's a need for any state governor to still want to put eye in the funds of local government. Let me tell you, this insecurity we are facing today, banditry, terrorism, and the like, started when the local government no longer holds sway in their domain, because that's what they call early warning system in security. And the 3 tiers of government was designed in a way that we have governance at the local level. And government, what I mean, including security, which is the primary objective of government. So the local government has been stifling. There was a time, 70% or 75% of the Nigerian land space does not have an elected local government. And these are people that should do the early warning system and be able to see when there is any move in their local government, they can do what I call a proactive and preventive. But when they are stifling off the space by the governor, the bandits in the bush is a bandit, or the terrorism, but there is political banditry that the governor also, some governors are also culpable of, because they keep on denying the local level the democratic dividends by not allowing this. We are supposed to have about 11,000 people manning our governance space, the councillors, about 9,000 of them. We have the state the chairman, 700 of them. Then we have 6 state governors. These people are supposed to function simultaneously, and that's the way we'll be able to capture all sector effectively. In local government, for instance, they have agri councillors, they have health councillor, supervisory councillor on health, on youth development, on sports. When you bastardize this particular governance space, you are creating a vacuum, which is the resultant effect of which we are getting today in the landscape, especially in the security aspect. Then Nigeria have no reason whatsoever to complain of food shortages if 700 production centers are actively functioning from Borno down to Lagos. There is no place you will put any seed that are indigenous to that area that they will not germinate.
Now you've given us a background to what Algon was perceived off the back of the 1999 constitution, which brought about the Fourth Republic.
Yes.
Now, talking about its dwindling status, today this allegation is being made by NULGE, which is more or less a very credible body when you talk about local governments across Nigeria. Does it worry you that such an allegation as hefty has been leveled against APC loyalists in Osun State with a demand that those disbursements be made public is coming from NULGE.
You see, the Osun issue is not far from the election that's coming up in Osun State. And people of Osun, both in people in the APC and the PDP and other political parties, will continue to fight for space.
So are you saying that NULGE is partisan in Osun? Is that your...
You know there are some organizations that have been sponsored most of the time when they come out.
So you're doubting the credibility of NULGE?
Yes, what I'm just saying is that they take side. It's that you are in NULGE, you're supposed to be neutral. You're supposed to play neutral. Becoming the spokesperson of the mouthpiece of the state government will not all go well, and the other side will not see you as a body they can align with. But by and large, the issue of local government and interference by state governors is eating deep into the development stride of Nigeria. And I think it's high time we, the citizens in our locality, demand that the state governors hands off the running of local government affairs, either their funds or any of the democratic practice and political space. Because you will find out that a governor will unpick local government chairman that will run the state. How do you expect that local government to look at the governor in the face and say, this thing you want me to do? Let me give you an instance. Yes, in Wake, for instance, was a former local government chairman. He nearly became a presidential candidate of PDP because he was a governor. He was allowed to function properly as a local government chairman. If he now grew to become chief of staff, local government chairman today have been reduced to class monitor in their local government. So these are because local government has equal executive power because there are legislature in the local government, who are the councillors. So the power that the governor have in the state should be allowed to function in the local government. The governor should answer completely in the interference with the space.
Now, whilst you doubt the credibility of NULGE in this accusation, the PDP, which you just referenced, the stints the current FCC minister had as a local government player back then.
And he rose to become former minister of sport, Solomon Dalong, was a local government chairman. He rose to
my point now.
Yeah.
The PDP now is challenging the APC in Osun to make public the accounts to which it disbursed that money, so that these issues do not become a back and forth. Do you think that the APC would allow this to happen?
As I've said earlier, this is an issue that I've not gotten enough fact on. But what I want you to know is that if election is coming, everybody will be jostling for space.
Mr. Yusuf, with or without the elections, the call on ground is, you say this money was not paid into account XYZ. Can we know the account it was paid in? Can you make it public?
You see, the accounts the money was paid to might have come out of the result of the election that they are dragging. Then if I became, there was a time the APC chairman was sworn in and the governor went to court, and so maybe the structure have set up a particular governance space in the local government in Osun State, and the Attorney General and the Accountant General of the Federation are dealing with those ones directly. It will continue to snowball into, because
that's why I started the question initially by asking. We know that there are rules of engagement, and at no time should public funds be paid into personal accounts.
I don't think it's. I mean, I've not gotten far, but I know for sure it will not be. The Attorney General have a great survey in the judicial and adjudication of justice in Nigeria. He's a man of impeccable record when it comes to judiciary. I don't think under his watch such an act will have been. Sometimes some people cry foul when they know that they are not on a proper ground. So until when we have the facts on ground.
Now I'd like for you to give us a projection into the future in your own best knowledge. This practice of joint accounts in states, you've called for it to be ended.
Abolished completely.
Do you foresee any time soon when you'd be sure to say that in 36 states, we barely have less than 10% that still have joint accounts for whatever technicalities that still exist?
There is no need for a joint account. Niger State, you see, sometimes when we come to a forum like this and we praise the person of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it seems as if we are overreaching. But this is a man that has had a vision and made sure that he leads and others follow. In 1999 to 2007, he had a scuffle with the Obasanjo-led administration on the local government issue. What Asiwaju was saying is that let's expand the local government. LCDA, local government development area, were created in Lagos. Lagos have 20 local government officially recognized by the law in the Constitution of Nigeria. But what Asiwaju was trying to make out was that these local governments are not functioning. The size of the local government is too big for the unit that for the administration that. So let's divide this local government. It now created at least about other 20 development area. Today, in Lagos, this development area has been able to complement the expansion. Then, aside the allocation given to the local government from the federal level, the state government go into its coffer to make sure that the LCDA have something to function, and some percentage of those one given to the 20 local government as assigned by the law were being shared with the LCDA, and development is being even. As it is today, about officially, Lagos State has 20 local government, but really on ground you will see about 42, and fundings are coming from the state government going to these 42.
But even on that, the legality, the Lagos State House of Assembly is still divided on the legality of the LCDAs.
Well, yes. What I'm saying is that there is need for even development. There are some local government, they are too constrained in the center, maybe in the headquarters of the local government, and maybe there are more cosmopolitan towns who development is supposed to go to, and maybe vis-a-vis is to the south or to the north of that local government. So if in Niger State, for instance, Ekure, the late Ekure in Niger State, also have something similar. They scuffle it out with Obasanjo throughout his tenure, as at he will not allow the Niger State capital, as at then, had Minna West and the Chenchega local government. So Minna West was the other side of the town, maybe the northern part of the town and the southern part of the town. And in that paripas, we have two local government chairman, but one is the one recognized under the law, and one is an LCDA, as to make sure that development is even across the Chenchega local government. And it helped in no small measure as at then. But Obasanjo Ben was on his neck that he must reverse to the old order. And there are some people that have stagnant thought in terms of expanding and development, because you can't remain in the same place. This local government that were created, 774 of them were created when? Maybe 30 years. 1999. Now, as at 1999, how many years is it? Are we supposed to be in one place? We are supposed to look at the need of the time. Population have grown. There are so many dynamic. All these farmer-elder clashes that you are seeing is that a result of increased expansion in the governance space. And that's why there are isolated settings, because development is concentrated when you leave Makurdi, when you live Ilorin, the state capital, when you live Osogbo, the state capital, that you will not see other places that are developing at the pace at which... Now, you've used
Lagos as a case study. Yeah. Many would argue that Lagos on its own has its sustainability potent. Cosmopolitan in nature, is more of the industrial hub of Africa as a whole, and hence those local governments can thrive because they are siting of industries in those local government areas that give it the much needed revenue to go about its development, whilst not even entirely depending on allocations, as it were. Yeah. Is this replicatable across other states in Nigeria?
Let me tell you, before 1999, when Buba Marwa used to be the Lagos state governor, because of the level of insecurity in Lagos, you pick dead body on the street on the morning. If you go to Oshodi is one of the biggest market in Lagos. Not vehicular traffic, pedestrian traffic deadlock, more than 200 meters. You have to be moving at a pace. So it takes the ingenuity of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu when he became the governor of Lagos to redesign the road network and the pedestrian movement along that corridor. And that's not the only place. Even at the Idumota is the largest market in Nigeria, because it's close to the Apapa port, and goods that are baited at that port normally find its way into that market. So all over Nigeria, people go there. If you want to go to Idumota in the morning, period to 1999, know that the whole of your day has been, you will spend the whole of your day on that traffic. So the day you want to go to Idumota, within a 5,000 square kilometer state, you cannot come back that day. And that you cannot come back. That the whole of that day, you enter the market and go out, the whole of your day is gone. But now, if you go to that same corridor, it's smooth traffic.
You're just buttressing my point.
Now, what I'm trying to say is that
opportunities are available in Lagos.
Lagos State is not the leading state in terms of economy period to 1999. Kano State has a large economy, flourishing textile industry period to 1999. When some leaders come into power, how they manage the opportunity that inherent in their setting is very, very important. Let me give you an instance as to the Akwa Ibom State governor, the former Akwa Ibom State governors. I want to talk about the president, Senate president. When he had sway in Akwa Ibom used to be a doldrum state period to that time. But the development stride of an Akpabio today make Akwa Ibom a darling of the nation in terms of infrastructure, in terms of road networks and the likes. Today, National Stadium is in Abuja. When it does not become conducive to host the Super Eagles match, we move to Akwa Ibom, the Gosu Akpabio Stadium. If that stadium is not constructed, we will still be stuck at the National Stadium. You get what I'm trying to say? So these are the issues that when you have a trailblazer who open up the state, so other states must borrow a leaf from the history. That's why when we started this program, I say you must look at the history. Many states, I'm talking to you now, have gone to Lagos to do peer review mechanism concept so that they can look at what is Lagos doing in this particular sector or in this particular realm of life. That is, how are they doing it so that they can come and replicate it in their state. There are more than 19 sectors that has been viable since 1999 to date in Lagos State. That other states, like the traffic management in Lagos State, has been replicated in all other states. When we're talking about state police, already Lagos is already there. They have the neighborhood watch, which is a very well organized. So as I'm talking to you now, the waterways in Lagos is about 70 to 60% international standard
and not to talk about the blue and red lines, railway lines.
Railway lines.
This brings us to our next focus on the program. Well, in moving on, Nigeria's economy has recorded its strongest growth in the second quarter of 2025, expanding by 4.2% year on year, surprising even some of the most bullish forecasts made about the economy. The National Bureau of Statistics made public these figures, and many more experts are saying that despite this growth, more needs to be done. My guest in the studio, Mr. Yusuf Muyideen, has talked about replicating the Lagos model in achieving the third tier's governance. But in delivering the dividends of democracy to Nigerians, many argue that these statistics do not reflect the true yearnings of Nigerians. That whilst the economy on paper is said to be booming, Nigerians continue to grapple with the harsh realities of little or no disposable income and an inflation rate that makes the current value of the 70,000 naira minimum wage even less valuable. Now, Mr. Yusuf, it's back to the efforts of the APC government and how it translates into the economic realities on ground. On paper, even the WTO has given the president the much needed kudos in his efforts to restabilize the economy.
Yeah.
But for the average Nigerian, people continue to complain about hunger and not being able to even make ends meet.
Yeah.
How do we balance this dilemma?
You see, period to the ascendance to the presidency of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we are coming from a particular economic quagmire as to the policy that the then federal government was taking. Look at it. Where in the world do you confiscate money in bank for months? And you think the aftermath of such policy will not have a negative effect on the people? For more than 3 months, period to the election, there was a debacle on Naira redesign. As at such time, you know, if you have 1 million in your account, for more than 3 months, you can only access a little fraction of such money from the banks because there is a particular Naira redesign in town. That 3 months can hold economy back for years. That's just that 3 months, because if I have 500,000 and revolve it around a business and it's stuck in the bank, my business will. And by the time the policy was lifted, because now you can see the two naira is still in circulation, which means the policies have no effect, even if the naira was designed. That's one on the other side. The then central bank, in our elementary economics, it is known that printing of money will lead to hyper inflation. So the governor, through Ways and Means regime, the government was printing naira. It was not about 9 trillion naira. Charles Soludo, a former central banker, has sat it on a national television. About 9 trillion naira were print, and he said he warned the then central bank that this thing will have a ripple effect. But when you have a master strategist in the person of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who normally takes responsibility, when he came, he was not lamenting. He just said, "Don't pity me. I'm the one that asked for this job." And he hit the ground running. One of the cankerworm that normally stifling the Nigerian state was the subsidy regime.
Before we get into the subsidy, let's stay with the point you've raised on the operations of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Because quite interestingly, I was looking at the NBS report, and it said for the first half of 2025, financial institutions' input to the GDP rose by 15.3%, which translates to over 3.4 trillion naira. Humongous amounts. Coming at a time when there's pressure on more banks to recapitalize. How significant is this moving the needle?
There's you see, I was trying to juxtapose what the central bank is doing with the subsidy regime. You know, subsidy demands a lot of dollars.
Before we get into subsidy, because we cannot ignore the numbers.
Yes, and you are talking about GDP and as a capital inflow. You see, when there is no pressure on your currency, when you earn more than you spend, there will be stability in your currency.
No, but this is also in some way credit to the financial institutions.
That's what I'm saying, is that the policy engineered by the Asiwaju-led administration and his team at the central bank and the Federal Inland Revenue. Do you know, as at August this year, Nigeria, the economy, the macroeconomy, as revealed by the president, is that we have reached our target, revenue target, as at August, without resorting to the oil revenue, which means that will be surplus. So
without resorting to domestic borrowing from the domestic banks.
What I'm saying is that the target revenue target has been attained as at August, and this is not even oil based. It is not oil sector that brought in that first time in history. Without the oil revenue, we have already gotten our target. So now, in the oil, whatever will come from the oil will be a surplus. Is as a result of the re-engineering by the central bank, removing the forest regime of which Nigeria is subsidizing dollars. So now the floating the dollar to operate at its own level has made more revenue to be accrued to the Nigerian state, and that's the advantage of having a sound team manning the central bank. That's what we are talking from
all right.
We are singing from the same book.
Let's come to the subsidy claims that you're talking about. But I want to bring it from a new angle of a very fresh developing story. It's been, would I call it, a banter between business mogul Femi Otedola and the aide to former Vice President Namadi Sambo, Umar Sani, who has linked Femi Otedola to some subsidy claims. And Mr. Femi Otedola is saying that he will sue 1 billion naira in libel against Umar Sani for not having his facts right. Have you followed the story? Do you care to make inputs in linking it to the subsidy discussions?
You see that we are putting a system whereby the law favors the rich. If not, Femi Otedola took a bribe to someone in this country.
Would you care to give us facts to this claim?
No, it is in the news. The former Mr. Integrity in the National Assembly, the representative, House of Representative, Shanunu Bogwe Federal House constituency, Farouk Lawal. We call him Mr. Integrity in the National Assembly because he was overseeing a committee that was looking into the fuel subsidy regime, and the likes of Otedola were indicted in that report. But to quash the case, he took bribe to Farouk Lawal and recorded it on a national. He recorded it and sent it to the public.
He says he was a whistleblower in that case.
He was a whistleblower who bribed someone. So the taker of bribe under the law and the giver are supposed to be culpable
of the crime.
So yes, you are the one that paid bribe, and the person that collected the two of you. What is the reason behind you? You know, when you don't do SWOT analysis of case and criminal engagement using a forensic front in doing the investigation. Why will you want to bribe a Farouk Lawal? It's just to indict him, and he was indicted. Farouk Lawal went to jail. Femi Otedola was roaming in the street, and that's why he's still running his mouth.
But he's saying that Zenon at the time took nothing from the federal government on
why
the
did he pay
payments.
why did he pay the bribe to Farouk Lawal, Mr. Integrity, for his image to be tarnished? So sometimes it's because we don't use scientific approach in tackling cases. There are some billionaires in Nigeria that are billionaires on the Nigeria. They are billionaires and Nigerians are paying with their blood. They are not producing their portfolio investors, because some people hold the industry for you.
But it's quite sketchy, because when you look at the antecedents with the reclamation of our national refineries, at some point, his name was on the table in a joint deal to have taken off those refineries. So when we talk about those subsidy claims and your version of the story as it concerns Femi Otedola, do you think he didn't make an effort in making the play?
Where did Otedola work to make his money that he went to want to buy an NPC? Where did he work? What was his track record of performance? When did Nupeng, as at then, I'm not a Nupeng person, or I'm not, you don't have the know-how. You just assembly investor because you came from a father that have money, and they have keep some money for you. You can buy everything that belongs to the nation. The Nupeng and the Pengasas, as at then, truncated that in meeting Yaradua that this thing is not possible, because what is the know-how? Even the Dangote that invested in the oil sector today, what is his know-how? Where has he worked that is related to the oil sector? If something goes wrong in the future, will they be able to weather the storm? Oil sector is not a baby industry that you just give it to all comers. There are technical expertise that are needed. Only that the people in NNPC and the like of Pengasson have always make us suffer over the year. And that's why we don't sympathize with them when the like of Dangote this is the only time that two elephants are fighting. But the grass has suffered for long. So the suffering does not even mean anything to us. They can continue to fight themselves. If not, the like of $1, what was his antecedent that made him a business mogul? It's because some people will put money in their pocket and stifle the system, collect the supply chain of Nigeria and hand it over to them. And they come to the space and be taking that. They know better than everybody. It's not done that way. In a Senate climb where things are done on merit, Otedola will not be a frontline businessman.
Now, but all of them are now major players when we talk about Nigeria's GDP and the contributions of the service sector to the GDP growth, which a lot of persons are applauding, a 4.2% jump year on year.
Yeah.
Now, you are still going to talk about subsidy contributions from a different angle, and I believe you're going to talk about the removal and the role the president played, if I'm not preempting you.
No, the subsidy, you see, Muhammadu Buhari of blessed memory, period to 2015 election, said it in the public, is still in the public glare, that subsidy is a scam. That who is subsidizing who? So some people will gather themselves in the name of oil marketer and the likes and collect money from. You see, immediately the subsidy was removed. Our consumption reduced by more than 55%. So where is the remaining 55% going to? It has shown that subsidy regime is a scam. Now, the government of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu are redirecting the fundings from subsidy back to states. And this funding now, going back to the state, is making sure that development is taking place in the state in a pace that has not been witnessed in the history of Nigeria. Likewise, if you look at the NEL fund, as of today, there are more, on the dashboard of NEL fund, more than 550,000 students are being recorded out of the 8.8 million students.
Which you count as subsidy gains. I get where you're going to with this.
Let me come to. I want to. You know, education is the bedrock of any nation that want to develop, and the technical school also are gaining immensely on that.
Points taken. Whilst we recount the gains of subsidy removal,
yeah.
But now the big question that remains is the debate around transforming Nigeria from a consumption economy to a productive economy. Yeah. Once you look at this GDP gains, a lot of analysts are still worried that the largest contributor is the service sector. How do we drive Nigeria into a more production-driven economy?
You see, the president and his team are already on that. Let me give you an instance. To bring in 10,000 of the 20,000 tractors, if you divide it across the local government, that's a significant number to the local governments. And these tractors are aimed to to move Nigeria from subsistence farming to mechanized farming. And then some governors are working with the president, like the Niger State governor, Benue State governor, and Kwara State governor, and some other governor. They are working directly with the government. They are targeting about 10 crops for massive mechanization. We are not there, period, to now. 2-3 years is not enough to start seeing the gains as such. But as I'm talking to you, shea butternut has been banned from export because Niger State has come to do the value addition before export.
On the value addition,
Yeah.
Mr. Yusuf, are you satisfied with the current value addition across the agricultural chain? And not forgetting preservation, storage, and transport continue to give a lot of farmers and producers headache.
Yeah.
The other day, we're talking about the amounts lost for just those transporting tomatoes from the north to the southeast.
Yeah, you see
Are
that-
you satisfied with the level of
That's
value
why,
addition?
that's why I said that Rome was not built in a day. Already efforts are on ground, and we have started seeing either to before now, Niger State is doing up to 200 billion a year.
But you didn't answer if you're satisfied or not. You just said
No,
Rome
no, no.
wasn't built in a day.
Rome wasn't built in a day in the sense that if 5 states are coming up with new mechanization agriculture, first 2 years is not enough for you to get the result because there's a learning curve even in business. You made mistake then, but all the parameters for us to hit the project, the highest and the target are already on ground. And when you see the tractors are coming in, when you see the farmland are being tilled, massive agricultural arable land are being cultivated from Mina to be there in Niger State is about 100 kilometers. 40 kilometers of that stretch, either side has been cultivated by Niger food. This started in this government. The first year, the second year, that will be like that last year, rain did not allow the crops to, but the governor haven't learned. Now, there are water being tapped from the river. When the rain is not forthcoming, they are doing irrigation. And you learn within the crop. So as I'm talking to you now, the last year farming is what led to the drop in the price of food. Before now, we buy rice at 120, 130. Today, how much is the price of rice? But what I'm just saying is that there is an effort by the government to make sure that there is consistency in agricultural mechanization. The Ministry of Agri, vis-a-vis the state government, they are working jointly, like in either Bauchi or Gombe. There is wheat is being cultivated by the state government.
Now, I have one more question on this subject before we change subjects
yeah.
to discuss another thing.
Yeah.
Dangote was of the opinion that for a country to be seen to show its commitments to moving from consumption to a production economy, it needs steel production as a bedrock for this industrialization.
Yeah.
In his opinion, he believes that the Ajaokuta's dream is not achievable, can never work. That was what he categorically said to the press.
Yeah.
Where does this assertion come in? Can we really achieve a production economy without getting our steel on track? And are the hopes of Ajaokuta, in your opinion, dead?
Yeah, you see that if there's a problem with Dangote in terms of business acumen and the way he take over businesses. Let me give you an instance with salt. I think during Abacha period that is into salt production. What they did was to bastardize any form of salt in the market has not been iodized. So they use the iodized concept that any salt that doesn't have iodine should not be consumed by Nigeria, and as such, their markets they give.
But they had a medical reason for that. When you look at the goiter level in Nigeria and the role iodine plays in preventing goiter.
Our forefather lived 121.
But a lot of them did have goiter too.
Let me just, but it's not, the goiter was not, you have to give a dog a bad name just to hang it. That's the principle of, is a principle in capitalist market. I have to attack a particular product so that I can make way for my product. It's normal in the capitalist market. But what I'm trying to hit at is that they took other business out. You can improve on the existing business. You don't need to kill other business before you want to flourish.
So you believe that what he's doing is killing the hopes of Ajaokuta?
Ajaokuta, Shehu Shagari of blessed memory is not smart. He's not smart. Is those team of people that this is the third largest steel company in the world. So for if they've killed, when they went to sugar, and one thing is that any sector eventually in the sector, the price of that product will shoot up. It happened with sugar, it happened with flour, and it happened. bread.
Cement.
Before Dangote come into flour production, how much do we buy bread? So please, there are things. This subsidy remover, they are the one that champion the PIB bill in the National Assembly to see the deal, and they make sure it was signed by President Muhammadu Buhari so that they can have a but what the Pengasin are doing to him and the other players in the oil sector is like he's meeting his match for the first time in terms of people that will put you where you belong. So they can, no matter what it's seen by Dangote, Dangote is not doing favor to Nigeria. After all, it was the Nigerian market that was seized and handed over to Dangote, that is sole marketer. The production line is not anything to go by. Let me give you, we are discussing about value addition. In sugarcane production, just like crude oil is to petroleum, sugarcane concentrate is to sugarcane. Dangote is still bringing in concentrate from other countries because he did not give the farmer in Nigeria leverage to plant his the sugarcane that he normally take over the whole value chain. Don't do that, because there are people that are in that business before you came in. If you go to Niger State, some part of Taraba State, and many parts of Nigeria, there are enormous sugarcane farmer before Dangote. In Bachita, we have a sugar company. We have the Shontisu. We have Savannah Sugar.
So very quickly,
before Dangote came into those industries, those sugar have to go down for Dangote business to thrive. So what I'm saying is that there are farmers that are cultivating sugarcane for concentrate in those companies.
Before we move on, finally, what would it take for this economic growth
to be sustained?
Growth in GDP beyond sustenance to reflect in the quality of life for Nigerians?
You see, already the price of commodity is going down. There will be more money to invest, like what we have in the education sector. Small scale businesses will be empowered in the coming days, so that as government generate more revenue, there will be more to spend in businesses and empowering the people. So that
is there a timeline to this hope? Do you think that
it's
will
already,
be the next 2 years,
already,
3 years, 4 years?
There are households that are already getting funding. There are businesses, the Bank of Industry, Smidan of this world, they are already doing a lot of things. The problem is that the minders of this president, Asuwaju, the media team and the likes, were not spotlighting enough into the media space, especially the social media and the likes. If not, a lot. Look like the technical school. It's silent. But do you know how many students are in technical school? For you to have their school fees settled, uniform and the likes, is an enormous achievement from the side of the government. But they are not projecting it. Do you know that there was a time the entire Southeast did not know that NEL fund was going on? The students in the Southeast, they did not know that they have to come later into the fold. That's why the number shoot to 500,000 from 400,000. So if you have a government that have not evolved a mechanism through the national orientation and other information ministry, parastatal agency, to reach out to the nooks and crannies of this country as to what the government is doing to impact their life. Because citizen engagement go pari passu with information and
all right, very quickly, we have less than a quarter of an hour as we look to discuss one more subject on the program this morning, and it's with calls from SERAP to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to disclose the appointment of the next INEC Chairman in terms of some of the considerations that would be made in reaching that decision. Mr. Yusuf, the tenor of the current INEC Chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, is bringing about the speculations. A lot of persons are looking at 2027, and you would agree why these concerns are heightened. SERAP seems to be one of the most vocal when it comes to this demand for accountability in governance. But when it comes to the appointment of a body that ought to be independent and have its autonomy in its way, people also look at the Constitution as having not provided enough backing for such to be devoid of any interference. How do you approach such a discourse?
The problem is that the INEC is not like a referee. And a referee in the football match, they have a referee association, they have their training. The INEC has done a yeoman's job over the years in conducting election. We must give it to them that they are one of the key players in sustaining our democracy today. And there is no system in the world that is 100% foolproof. The last election that kicked out Donald Trump in the United States was marred by irregularities. The United States have about more than 200 years of practice in democracy and electioneering. So if they can have some loopholes in their election, it will happen even if you are not going to bring people from space. You are not going to bring angel into the INEC. But the resolve for us to play our part is very, very important. As we are talking now, continuous voters registration is going on, which is the first stage in the process of the electioneering campaign towards the 2027 election. How many of us are charged people that are now 18 years and above to go and register in our neighborhood? How many of us conducted, please go and get your voter registration? This is the first step in the process. Now, as to who will become the INEC chairman, whoever becomes the INEC chairman cannot operate in isolation. It's just a system. And the system is in such a way that whoever is given the saddle of responsibility at the INEC must comply to a particular system as backed by the law. So INEC is an establishment of a particular system. So who head is inconsequential as far as I'm concerned. But what role is the key principal actor? SERAP, yes, is an advocate group that has always championed good governance and democratic best practice in democracy. But they are not an authority as to the process of which the new INEC chairman will be chosen.
But do you think it's supposed to be public knowledge? What are the criterias? How would the selection unfold for Nigerians to be carried along? I like how you started with the PVC, because now the call is to let everyone know this is the start date, this is how to go about the online and physical registration.
You see, if the new INEC chairman come on board, he will operate in a system.
No, but the process is what I'm asking about.
Now
the call is to disclose the process to Nigerians.
You see, there is something that you just come to the public glare just to score a cheap political point. Maybe let me be the one.
But SERAP is not a political party.
I know, you know, but they come to political space to be a kind of a mediator in terms of putting themselves as a watchdog of the society. So they are always they are always participating in political process. So as such, they are into politics. But what I'm trying to say is that the president will not unilaterally bring the INEC chairman.
Let me be more direct. Obiora was clear on it. Apart from what SERAP is saying, he came out directly to say that the law should provide for a stripping of presidents and governors of the power to appoint INEC chairman or state independent electoral commissioners.
What I'm saying is that if
you talked about the referee having a referee association.
What I'm saying is that even if they give SERAP to bring someone, other people who are not SERAP will counter it that maybe SERAP is coming for a particular. What I'm just saying is that let's build a system. Let's build an institution that's viable.
But do you agree that there might be a constitution amendment review in that regard? Is it needed to create public trust?
You can't just go and pick INEC chairman from the moon. There will be a process and nomination will take place. Either is the president or is the citizenry. Now, if you say, okay, let's throw it to, they say everybody's business is nobody's business. Somebody must appoint the INEC chairman. If it's okay, let's throw it to the political party. Each political party will bring the person that suits their narrative. Now, we will have about 18 persons for the INEC to go through. We recommend also for person. If you say, oh, let's throw it to the state, each state will want their person to be there. That's why the constitution gives the president, based on the information available and the power of his office, to nominate. Now, a lot of people, professors, have a survey in politics and have championed election all over the world. In fact, there are commissioners in INEC that are not partisans over the year who have been there and have acquired a lot of experience. These people can be recommended to the president. That's what I think SERAP should be doing. Hunt for the best head that you think can do. And put up names across the 6 geopolitical zone. Let's say 2%. That's 12. Then federal capital. Bring the professor of political science, people that have participated and of impeccable character, recommend them for the president. Then within those recommendations, president should now narrow his choice. Then they will now send the person's name to the National Assembly
for screening and confirmation.
Now
it's a race against time. In concluding this very intense conversation we've had, stakeholders are pushing that all these reforms be accommodated before 2027. Is it tenable in your opinion?
I think the constitutional review is still going on, and there are some group recently they went to the National Assembly as to credible, free and fair election, and they submit their main paper. Then I think there's a public contribution that is open for people to go and make their contribution. But by and large, what we need is a credible institution. And credibility of INEC cannot be put to question because they've conducted, at least for the last 25 years of our democratic sojourn, INEC has been an integral part of it. No system in the world is 100% foolproof. We must continue to grow in our pace. Like the last issue we had in the last general election was the issue of Beaver's performance. And Beaver did 75%, only a glitch on the results upload on. Then we cannot throw away such a system that have done more than 75% if we do a scientific and forensic performance of the Beavers, not on sentiment. So if the only problem we have now, how do we forestall glitches going forward? This should be our debate presently. The problem you have yesterday, when you wake up today, is how will you solve it?
All right. Most of those are blamed on the person who made the pronouncement, who will be exiting office soon. He said those promises were not kept.
No, the problem is that you are in ADBN. You are not here on your own. You are working for a system. The man was working for a system, and the system gave him the timeline as which we will announce the result. So you can't tell a man, you can't blame a man for doing his job. But sometimes you do your job even at the time that is not convenient for you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Yusuf Muyideen Ahmed, for your time on the program this morning. We appreciate you.
It's nice being here with at the ADBN. They advocate what makes sense.